On this Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Senator Kamala Harris becomes the first African American to enter the 2020 presidential race. Harris is a freshman Democratic senator from California. She's the second African American female senator in U.S. history. And before that, she served as California's Attorney General. She's also a former district attorney for San Francisco. Harris says that she's running because she feels a sense of responsibility to stand up and fight.
My entire career has been focused on keeping people safe. It is probably one of the things that motivates me more than anything else. And when I look at this moment in time, I know that the American people deserve to have somebody who is going to fight for them, who is going to see them, who will hear them, who will care about them, who will be concerned about their experience and put them in front of self-interest.
Now, Harris will speak and take questions later this hour at her alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C. Her campaign officially kicks off, though, next week in Oakland, California, where she grew up. Now Harris enters a Democratic field that's quickly becoming crowded. Just last week, New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand announced her bid for the White House. She's been in Congress since 2006. A few days earlier, former HUD Secretary Julian Castro announced his decision to run. He also served as San Antonio's mayor, and Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii made her announcement one day before Castro. She was elected to the House back in 2012. She's also a combat veteran. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren staked her claim on December 31st before being elected to the Senate in 2012. She was an advisor to President Barack Obama who helped launch CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Richard Ojeda filed his paperwork November 11th. He ran unsuccessfully for the U.S. House representing West Virginia and is a former state senator. He's also a retired paratrooper. And then there's former Maryland Congressman John Delaney. He announced his presidential bid all the way back on July 28th of 2017. He was elected to the House in 2012, and as the founder of two companies, his estimated net worth is about $90 million. All right, joining me now is NBC News political reporter Ali Vitali and PBS NewsHour White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor. Great to have both of you with us. Ali, let me begin with you. You are at the D.C. Event where the senator is expected to take some questions, talk more about her presidential bid. What are we expecting to hear from her this hour?
Yeah, I mean, we're here at Howard University where we're waiting for Kamala Harris. And yeah, she announced this morning in New York on GMA, and she'll be coming here to take some questions from the media. And this has sort of become the choreography for some of the higher caliber candidates in this race. You saw when Elizabeth Warren and Kirsten Gillibrand jumped in, they announced on either Colbert or with a video online, and then they came and they took questions from the media. And I think that it's notable in all of those scenarios that they've done so in places where they're comfortable. For Gillibrand, it was at a diner in Troy, New York, where her family has gone for some years. For Elizabeth Warren, it was outside her house. For Kamala Harris, it's here at Howard, a place that she's talked about as transformative in her life. Amen.
So, Yamiche, help us understand the significance of her being the first African-American candidate in this 2020 race, potentially others, including Cory Booker, but also the announcement coming on Martin Luther King Day. That symbolism certainly cannot be lost.
Well, I've talked a lot to Senator Harris, and it's not lost that this is being announced on Martin Luther King Day and that she's now going to be taking questions at a historically black university, her alma mater, Howard University. It's seen almost as the black Harvard in a lot of circles. In a lot of ways, it's a very prominent college and university. And I think what she's doing here is trying to center her campaign around civil rights, around the idea of justice. When I interviewed her back in October for a one-on-one for about an hour, she told me that the Democratic Party needs someone who's going to be not afraid to speak truths and not afraid to, in some ways, push back against President Trump. So I think that what we're seeing is someone who's not just saying, I want to run for president, I want to also put my blackness and my ethnicity at the center of my campaign. So I think that that's notable here.
So, Ali, to that point, and let me pick up what Yamiche was saying, that civil rights is obviously going to be one of her signature issues. She was a district attorney, prosecutor as well as attorney general. But I'm curious to get your thoughts. What can we expect her other signature issues to be?
Well, Eamon, I think you have to think about how she really came on the scene here in D.C. She does have a spot on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and she really captured the D.C. psyche through her questions in hearings with several relevant Trump administration officials. I think back to at the very beginning of the administration, then Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Kamala Harris really garnered attention for her back and forths with him. And then, of course, during the Judge Kavanaugh hearings, she was someone else who was kind of at the fore of the pushback to Justice Kavanaugh, even before the allegations of sexual misconduct came to light. And so So I think that you're going to see her use that as kind of ammo to say, yeah, I'm here as someone who can push back against the Trump administration agenda, in addition to bringing my own thoughts and policy agenda to this 2020 field.
And Yamiche, if you were surveying some of her vulnerabilities, you might think that she is someone who might run into some problems with progressive voters because of her time as a prosecutor in California. Why would that be a sore issue for her, or something she would have to address? And what other vulnerabilities might she have as a candidate on policy issues or potential debates?
I think the key issue that she's going to have to deal with is her time as a prosecutor in California. There's already been some columns, high-profile columns, written about the idea that some people don't feel as though she was a progressive prosecutor, that she was someone who was aggressively trying to put people in jail and not so much thinking about really educating the whole person. So that's something that she's going to have to run into. I should say that when I interviewed her back in October, she talked about her time as a prosecutor as being someone who also prosecuted sex crimes and made her someone who understood the Me Too movement from a prosecutorial way of looking at things. So I think she's going to be also looking at her time as a prosecutor to not just say, I can fix the criminal justice system, but I also understand women's issues along with that.
And I know that, Yamiche, you brought up the interview that you had with her. I'm curious to get your thoughts in your conversations with her. What does she think the Democratic Party or a Democratic candidate needs in 2020?
I think what she really thinks people need is someone who's going, or what her party needs is someone who's going to be both blunt, someone who's going to really go after President Trump in very plain language, but also someone who's going to be relatable. During our interview, one of the things that I started my article with was her love for Cardi B and the idea that she likes listening to rap music, that she likes listening to Bob Marley. So I think she is trying to explain to people that, yes, she was a prosecutor, yes, she's a senator, but she's also someone who is a stepmother and also someone who has a family who understands what people are going through across the country.
All right. And Ali, I want to get your thoughts really quickly on this as the Democratic field continues to become a little bit more crowded. You've got other 2020 contenders that are out there. They haven't announced yet, but our names have been floated around, including Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders, even Michael Bloomberg. Do you think that we're going to hear from any of them soon? And is there kind of like an unofficial countdown clock as to when everyone has to be in this race to have a good head start?
It's a good point you make. I think that the conventional thinking that I've been hearing in my conversations with strategists and donors is that the first quarter seems to be when most campaigns feel that they're going to make a decision by. All of these possible could-be campaigns keep saying that they're looking at it until the end of the first quarter, because they're going to need to figure out, do they have the money to make it in the long haul? Money is going to be a big question when you have a crowded field like this. You're going to need to be able to go the distance on the early primary state map and be able to continue to make your case, even if you don't place first or second in Iowa or New Hampshire. You need to be able to make it to South Carolina. California now has a higher place, an earlier place on the primary calendar, and so you're going to need to really look at the money aspect, and then also by the end of the first quarter, you're going to see what the field looks like. There's very few candidates, I think, that can afford to wait much longer than that. The only one who many people seem to agree could wait that long, although it's not really clear if he would be former Vice President Joe Biden.
Yeah, and to that point, you already have Senator Harris's campaign putting out that she has raised money from all 50 states within the first couple of hours of announcing her campaign. Her announcement video has gotten already more than 1 million views, so maybe that is an indication of some early popularity.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.